Hello everybody, welcome to Monza as the cars are heading down the pit lane, getting ready for qualifying for the 12th race of the International GT Open season. You join myself, Ben Evans, on an overcast but still and sultry morning here at the Cathedral of Speed, and we should be in for an absolutely fascinating qualifying session because yesterday we were treated to a marvellous race which was claimed in the end by Craig Dolby and Seb Morris in the Wessex Lamborghini ahead of the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini of Giovanni Venturini and Marco Mappelli, but that result enough to further extend Venturini's championship lead. Third place and the Pro-Am victory went to Sean Balfe and Rob Bell. But as ever in the International GT Open, everything gets turned on its head a little bit on the Sunday because you get the driver who didn't qualify on Saturday taking to the track for the session, and therefore a grid that potentially is going to look very different. They've got 30 minutes to set the grid for the 60-minute or 61-minute race that we've got later on today. An additional minute added to the race duration because that is going to allow them to refuel mid-race if necessary. It's Valentin Pierberg, the wheel of the SPS Automotive Mercedes that he shares with Tom Onslow-Cole. Pierberg and Onslow-Cole finishing third in the Pro-Am class yesterday, and therefore helping their Pro-Am championship push. In terms of the championship overall then, Giovanni Venturini comes into today's race leading Fran Rueda and Victor Bouveng by 12 points. There is Fran Rueda at the wheel of the Théo Martin Motorsport BMW, with then Thomas Biaggi third in the standings, 14 points adrift. Albert Costa and Philippe Fromenville in the ML Frey Racing Lexus, 15 points off the pace. And then fifth place is Miguel Ramos and Michael Mack, and they've got 24 points to make up, with 45 points left on the table. In car with Hellmeister, Drivex Mercedes, as the Brazilian heads down the pit lane out onto the track. And I think we'd expect to see him going pretty well during the course of this session. Of course, the other big talking point is what they've done with the tyre allocation, because they only get so many sets available for the weekend. And certainly, talking to some of the teams last night, there is would appear to be a bit of a problem for the Drivex Mercedes, because I think he's struggling to get out of first gear there, because he's not accelerating anything like the way he should. Turns in to Rettifilia. Let's see if he's able to accelerate on the exit. No, he pulls off to the inside of the road, and that is going to be along that. There you see, just can't upshift. See the car bouncing off the rev limiter. That is going to be a long, long way around for him back to the pits. Get that car looked into, so disappointment for the Drivex team at the start of the session. So yes, some cars will have a couple of sets of fresh Michelin rubber available to them. Others will just have the one set, as we follow the progress of Nono Figueiredo, third place in the AM class yesterday, alongside Marcio Basso in the Sporting U Mercedes. There is the car that won yesterday's race, Seb Morris and Craig Dolby. Nigel Mustel prepared entry, and talking to Craig and Seb last night, they, notwithstanding the 15 seconds they'll spend in the pits as a result of additional time, success seconds from yesterday, they're fairly confident about their chances for today. Certainly a feeling that Seb could well challenge for pole position, but he's going to be up against Fran Rueda and Augusto Farfus at the wheel of the Théo Martin Motorsport BMWs. Com Ledegaard in the Garage 59 McLaren will also be a factor, as one would suspect Albert Costa in the Emil Frey Racing Lexus. All three of the Imperiale Racing Lamborghini Huracans could challenge, as well Michael Mack, the Spirit of Race Ferrari. So this promises to be an absolutely fascinating session. Riding ripples in the road there. Seb Morris, as Michael Mack carves his way round Valentin Pierberg. Of those that have set a time already, Com Ledegaard currently at the top of the times, and Ledegaard was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. He and Alex West finishing runners-up in the Pro-Am class. In terms of the Pro-Am Championship, well, Sean Balfe and Rob Bell lead that by 14 points over Pier Giuseppe Perezzini. And then effectively third in the standings, there is Alan Hellmeister limping back to the pits. Effectively third in the standings once you discount Marco Ciocci, who's not here. Valentin Beerberg is the third of the cars in the championship on 47 points. And Alex West and Com Ledegaard, they are 24 points off the lead of the Pro-Am class. So Albert Costa just moves up into second place with his first flying lap of the qualifying period. 1 minute 47.1 for him. As accelerating through comes Seb Morris. And we go in car with Albert Costa, the Emil Frey Racing Lexus. Costa, several wins to his credit already this season, he and Philip Fromvilla. Certainly after Spa-Francorchamps, it looked like the title fight was going to be between Costa and Fromvilla, and then the sister Lexus of the Farnbacher Racing Team, Dominic and Mario Farnbacher. As the season's unfolded, it's been the Emil Frey Racing Lexus that has been the more consistent, the pairings, as Augusto Farfus peels in. Looks like he's got a brand new set of boots to go on the car. Farfus alongside Lorenzo Beirao had another day of bad luck yesterday. Seb Morris out over the curbs, bouncing the Lamborghini Gallardo. Comes back to earth, Morris picks up the throttle, accelerates through the first Lesmo, then into the second. This is where Alex Moiseev had his huge accident yesterday. Kaspersky Racing Ferrari. Blast on towards Scari. So the order is currently Com Ledegaard from Albert Costa. Then it's Seb Morris in third. Here come the Imperiale Racing Lamborghinis. Raffaele Giammaria up to fifth off the strength of that lap, and he is being chased by Zelko Dermic in Falk Racing and Lucas Porsche. Zelko Dermic currently 18th overall and has a bit of a spin over at the Rettifilio. He'll look for the right moment to rejoin, which he does now. Here is Fran Rueda. Rueda and Bouvain, they've been so consistent as the season's unfolded. Let's look at Zelko Domic's moment. Snatches a break, the weight of the car transfers, and around he goes. Oh, fork. As he will rejoin. Com Ledegaard runs side by side with Valentin Beerberg. And Ledegaard just setting another fastest time, a 1 minute 47.094. He's a tenth of a second up on Mikel Mack, who's second. Third is Seb Morris. Fourth, Albert Costa. Fifth, Matt Griffin. Sixth, Eduardo Liberati. The Raton Racing Lamborghini having a really good weekend so far. Seventh, then Raffaele Giammaria, the first of the Imperiale Racing Lamborghinis. Ledegaard rides the curbs, and certainly an outright race podium not beyond the realms of possibility today for Ledegaard and West. Don't forget they won here at Monza last year. It's a track that really suits the car and also really suits the driving style of both its pedallers. Along underneath the banking for Ledegaard. Didn't set an improved time through the first sector. He does through the middle sector. He sets the fastest middle sector of the session. Jinks through Ascari. And on his way. Now we know that McLaren's good because Duncan Tappy and Sean Balfe right at the sharp end of the field yesterday in qualifying and in the race. Although Duncan a little bit unfortunate to be the victim of a fair bit of bumping during the early stages of the session, during the race rather. It rather hurt here Mike Benham's chances, but now here comes Ledegaard, accelerates through and sets the fastest time of the session, a 1 minute 46.8, exactly 2 tenths clear of Seb Morris, who's moved up to second. Mikel Mack is third, Matt Griffin fourth in the Ferrari that he's sharing this weekend with Pier Giuseppe Perezzini. Raffaele Giammaria is fifth, Albert Costa sixth, Eduardo Liberati seventh, Augusto Farfus eighth, Nono Figueiredo showing strongly. He's in 9th, the first of the AM class runners. And then Giovanni Venturini up to 10th. There you see Andrea Fontana, and he is being pursued down the back straight by Mike Benham in the Garage 59 McLaren. And then Luis Silva, the AM class championship leader, sporting Mercedes in yesterday's AM class race winner. And just behind him, we've got the Armada of Imperiale Lamborghinis. First up, Giovanni Venturini, then Raffaele Giammaria, and then Augusto Farfus in pursuit of both of them. It's Farfus who is the quickest of that trio. He has just posted the best middle sector. A 1 minute 46.8 is the time for the BMW to beat, and Farfus does it by 0.2 of a second to 1 minute 46.662. Augusto Farfus moves to the top of the standings, looking to help propel Lorenzo Beirao de Viega, his co-pilot, to his second victory of the season. They were victorious on the Sunday at Silverstone back at the start of September. Meanwhile, Raffaele Giammaria didn't post an improved time last lap. Giovanni Venturini did, but it was only good enough for 10th place. As Giammaria navigates the curbs. He and Thomas Biaggi, very experienced campaigners, and they'll know exactly what they need to do in terms of managing the tyre allowance, managing success seconds, finishing on the podium, to get the best possible points haul from the remaining 3 races. There's absolutely everything to race for and everything to play for. Flash of the headlights from Augusto Farfus. It's there of Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Now here is Mikel Mack, currently 3rd. Mack and Ramos, who had that magnificent mid-season purple patch in the Ferrari, where they were pretty much unassailable at both the Paul Ricard and Hungaroring events, and that brought them into championship contention. Silverstone was heavy going. Yesterday, Mack well up inside the top 10. Today, good qualifying position, a good clean start to the race. Could well help things along. Mack accelerates towards Ascari, just comes towards the end of the second sector. No improvement as yet on this tour, so I just wonder if, as we approach the midway point of the session, whether or not Mikel Mack is going to peel into the pit lane. Now here's Matt Griffin, deputising for Marco Ciocci this weekend, trying to support the Pro-Am Championship Challenge of Pier Giuseppe Perezzini, and Griffin ducks into the pit lane while we go in car with Albert Costa. Costa, last time through, set his best lap of the session, and that was enough to elevate him up into 5th place as we ride with the Spaniard through Curva Grande on towards the Variante della Roggia. Get a sense of the gigantic forces flowing through the car, but also just how poised and relaxed is Costa is behind the wheel. And Costa in pursuit of another improvement through the first Lesmo. Picks up the throttle, downshifts, rides the camber on the exit. He's got a car that he may well catch on the way towards Ascari. Just moves aside. So all busy in the AF Course pit box. Costa's post improvement through the middle sector. We'll go back in car with Albert Costa as he comes out of Ascari. Accelerating up towards the Parabolica. Costa, former Formula Renault 2-litre Euro Cup champion, former Megane Euro Cup champion, very, very quick driver. And looks like he is going to abandon this lap and peels into the pit lane, possibly to put on a new set of tyres. So much of the field is currently in the pits. Some differing strategies to how the 30-minute session is going to unfold. Meanwhile, there is Mauro Calamia in the second of the SPS Automotive Mercedes, car 40. And he has got, please see the Drivex Mercedes Hellmeister out and running again. Just behind him, and then we've got Fran Rueda. Now Rueda, half a second will be enough to give the Spaniard pole position. altogether likely on this lap, but Rueda improves a little bit. He finds another couple of hundredths of a second, but remains in 5th. Sean Balfe, meanwhile, has just come up into 10th. Martin Pierberg re-emerges from the pits for his second run of the session. Slight kick of the tail there for Fran Rueda as he navigates into Curva Grande. The Teo Martin Motorsport BMW, currently 2nd place in the championship, but the championship leader, Giovanni Venturini, is only at the moment in 13th place. And what we don't know, of course, is whether Venturini did that first run on old tyres and he's still got a fresh set of rubber to boot on. It's going to be a long afternoon for the Italian. Rueda not improving through the first sector. So he chases the Drovex Mercedes, which is possibly going to be on the cusp of improvement from 17th. Meanwhile, Andrea Fontana emerges from the pits, as does Giovanni Venturini. Fascinating session this, as just 3 races to run, including today's in the campaign. Every point means absolutely everything. Along the back stretch towards the Parabolica. And I would expect from that angle of attack into the pits, Fran Rueda. So Rueda ducks in. You can see just how busy the pit lane is as Matt Griffin emerges in the Scarlet Ferrari. So Martin Motorsport team wave in to a halt. Waiting now here is Andrea Fontana. He and Vito Postiglione, as with all the Imperiale Ferraris, right on the pace yesterday. They had the frustration though of Postiglione being skittled a little bit through Resifilio on the first lap of the race. It meant that the front spoiler was somewhat decimated. The handling of the car late on. Andrea Fontana, currently 16th overall. But this lap should improve it. As he comes through, completes the lap and jumps up the standings to 9th place. It's a good lap from Andrea Fontana. He's only 2/10 adrift of teammate Raffaele Giammaria. Another teammate, Giovanni Venturini, just coming to the end of an out lap. Fontana navigates the Resifilio. See if there's any more to come on this lap. Top 10 covered by just 1.4 seconds at the moment in this session. And it is Augusto Farfus who currently leads the way. Just a 10th clear of Com Ledegaard. Then it's Michael Mack in 3rd, Seb Morris is 4th, Fran Rueda 5th, Albert Costa 6th, Matt Griffin 7th, Raffaele Giammaria 8th, Andrea Fontana 9th, and Gabriele Lancieri has just jumped up to 10th. There's over a third to run, and with 12 minutes to go, they've got time for probably 5 or 6 more laps if the tyres will stand it, and this thus far has been a pretty good lap for Andrea Fontana. He can maintain what he did in the first sector through to the second sector. Could be on for an improvement. His personal best through the middle sector. Runs out very wide, coming through Ascari, right on the pace. And then towards the Parabolica. So the brakes. Into the right hand, he uses the aerodynamic grip of the car, trusts what's available to him, and picks up the throttle as early as he can to accelerate through to the end of the lap as Andrea Fontana crosses the line. Doesn't quite improve though. That moment of the Ascari cost him, gave way a 10th to his previous lap. Have another couple more runs at it. Meanwhile, Com Ledegaard and Michael Mack have emerged from the pits, as has Fran Rueda. Let's have a look at that moment for Andrea Fontana. Remember the Villorba course Ferrari a couple of years ago, having an absolutely enormous accident at that point on the circuit. Here's Valentin Pierberg, meanwhile. And Pierberg not having the easiest session. Currently 22nd. But he is on course to maybe improve this time around. Valentin Pierberg, it's really been a season of learning. The SPS car has been blindingly fast. Those circuits, some of them have really suited Pierberg's driving style. Takes the shortest possible line through, improves his time, but actually remains in 22nd position, just over 3 seconds adrift of the pole mark. Flashes his headlights, Nono Figueiredo as he emerges. Now here comes Matt Griffin. Griffin has just gone 5th, 1:47.1. So Matt Griffin moves up to 2nd in the Pro-Am class, just behind Com Ledegaard. Welcome return to the championship for Griffin. Always very, very quick at the wheel of the AF Course Ferrari. Navigates Curva Grande, accelerating towards the Variante della Roggia. Who else is on the quick one? Well, Gia Maria could be up for an improvement. So could Giovanni Venturini. So all 3 Imperiale Racing Lamborghinis looking to be upwardly mobile. We stay with Matt Griffin. Giovanni Venturini goes 5th as he comes past our commentary box. So Venturini 5th, the championship leader. 4/10 adrift of pole, and now we've got the top 10 covered by under a second. Sean Balfe also going well in the Balfe Motorsport McLaren, currently the 3rd of the Pro-Am runners, and he is 13th overall, but on the cusp of improvement. Hiroshi Hamaguchi, the Triple F Racing Lamborghini, also about to improve. Now here are Ledegaard and Max, 2nd and 3rd in the second session respectively, and both of them on absolute flyers. They're being pursued by this man, Gabriele Lancieri, in the SF Racing Ferrari. It's the cars in front of Lancieri which are the ones that are likely to trouble pole position momentarily, although Lancieri doing a very, very solid job in 8th place. Here comes Ledegaard and Michael Mack. Of the pair of them, it's Mack who was fractionally quicker than Ledegaard through the middle sector. Ledegaard through, improves his time, but not to pole. Michael Mack then jumps Ledegaard, so we've now got the top 3 in the session, covered by 900ths of a second. Farfus still leads the way. Then it's Mack up into 2nd place, Ledegaard to 3rd. 7.5 minutes to run, and Farfus on a lap that is possibly going to give him an improvement as well. Seb Morris remains in the pits. He should still be due another run in the Wessex Lamborghini. Venturini in 5th, still trying to find an improvement. Matt Griffin in 6th, and another good lap, as Ledegaard has just done the fastest first sector of anybody in the session, and Michael Mack was only a couple of hundredths adrift of that pace. So here is Augusto Farfus, who's just posted the best middle sector. He's pursuing teammate Fran Rueda. But Farfus, something of a legend in the World Touring Car Championship, amongst other things. So raced at DTM and the likes. Really, really top-level driver as he takes the short route to the line. And Farfus improves a 1:46.2, and that gives the Teo Martin Motorsport driver a buffer in pole position of some 4.5 tenths of a second. But Mack and Ledegaard are still on absolutely phenomenal laps. So how long Farfus is going to enjoy this pole, we'll find out in a couple of moments' time. Mike Benham moves aside in the Garage 59 McLaren. Simultaneously watching the screen and outside the commentary box window, because Michael Mack has, I would suggest, just dropped out of the lap there. He appears as if he's heading to the pits. Ledegaard, though, comes through and improves. Oh, and he gets within 36 thousandths of a second of Farfus. So it's Ledegaard who goes 2nd now. Michael Mack slips to 3rd and drops into the pits. Hiroshi Hamaguchi has a moment. And rejoins over the sausage curb. Just had a quick spin, exiting the Rettifilio. So the classification now, Farfus pole, Leathergar second, Mack third, Morris fourth, Venturini fifth, Griffin sixth, Fran Rueda seventh, Gabriele Lancieri in eighth, Guado Liberati, Albert Costa in ninth, Guado Liberati 10th. Here, meanwhile, all straight on for Hendrik Still. He's able to bring the Lamborghini to a halt as we ride in car with Hellmeister in the Drivex Mercedes. Now, this is getting a little bit better for the Brazilian. He is up into 12th, having just posted his best lap of the session. Figueiredo accelerates out of the Scari section. Figueiredo currently second in the AM class. He's got Com Leathergar in pursuit. Now Leathergar is on potentially for another good lap here, because the Frenchman has posted the best first sector of anybody, his personal best through the middle sector. He only needs to find 36 thousandths of a second. Can he get them? Here he comes over the line, and Leathergar doesn't quite do it. Fractionally adrift of his best. There you can see the front of the Sport New Mercedes grinding against the track surface, under braking. Leathergar desperate to clear Figueiredo, who now moves aside. Leathergar thanks him. What that's going to be, just a little bit too much of a delay for Leathergar, we will find out. Meanwhile, Seb Morris remains in the pits. Venturini and Rueda have both shuffled yesterday's race winner, so Fran Rueda now goes fourth. Giovanni Venturini up into fifth. Here comes Rueda, pursuing another improvement if he possibly can. Round the Parabolica. Tries to just keep it all smooth. Across the line he comes, doesn't quite improve. He only needed 0.04 of a second to get on to third place. Meanwhile, Rafael Giammaria, he's just improved up into 8th place. Improvements low down the order. Mauro Calamia has come up to 19th. Martin Pierberg remaining in 22nd. Surprised still to see Seb Morris in the pits, and with 2.5 minutes to run, I don't think he's going to emerge either. Farfus also into the pit lane. Leathergar not improving on this lap. So the order, as we head towards that stage of the session, appear just to be stabilising. Though, still pressing on Matteo Marti Motorsport BMW, and this is something the Spaniard has done to great effect throughout this season. He's really finding the improvements late on. Despite Benham leaps over the curbs, currently in 20th place. Giovanni Venturini still pressing as hard as he can. Big thumbs up from Augusto Farfus. Done an absolutely brilliant job. It looks as if it's going to be enough. Venturini doesn't improve on that last lap. Fran Rueda doesn't look like he is going to improve either. Rafael Giammaria, though, does improve. He goes up into 7th place, a 1:47.0. Farfus rightly, I think, can feel very pleased with that. Pace setter throughout the session. The very best efforts of Leathergar and Mack wasn't quite enough to overhaul him. It's all good for the Teo Marti Motorsport BMW squad. Just a minute left on the clock. A couple of drivers still looking, if they can, to make some late leaps up through the order. One of them is Sean Balfe, who pursues Hiroshi Hamaguchi. And Hamaguchi, currently 18th overall. his indicator on, which possibly suggests that he is going to call it a lap. Indeed he does, so Hamaguchi into the pit lane brings his session to a close. Sean Balfe does exactly the same. As Albert Costa sneaks across the line, improves his time, in fact, with 1 minute 47.1. The checker flag goes out. Albert Costa in the Emil Frey Racing Lexus has got one more lap available to him and a completely empty circuit. Everybody else to the pit lane. One of the Pirelli Lamborghinis takes the flag. The others duck towards the pits. So just looking to see what progress Albert Costa can make. He's currently 9/10 adrift of pole. He's the only driver who is still on a flying lap as Edoardo Liberati pounds through, takes the flag, consolidates his 11th place in the session. Such as Albert Costa and Valentin Pierberg still circulating. It's only Costa who's doing it at anything like a level of speed. I think the Emil Frey Racing Lexus team may have hoped for a little bit more from qualifying as Costa improves through the middle sector. And if Albert Costa can find just a 1/10 of a second, it's going to be enough to bump him up to 7th on the grid, if not a little bit more. So one car still running. Everybody else back into the pit boxes and into Parc Fermé conditions. We'll hesitate on giving you that classification until Costa comes through and completes that final lap. You see Ledegaard running down the pit lane towards the Garage 59 pit box. And Costa does come through and goes up into 8th, so he makes a fractional improvement. Here's a look then at that classification. Augusto Farfus, pole position, 36 thousandths of a second clear of Com Ledegaard, who heads the Pro-Am class. Then it's Mikael Mack and Fran Rueda, a very quick second row. Championship leader Giovanni Venturini, 5th, ahead of Seb Morris. Then it's Raffaele Giammaria and Albert Costa on the 4th row, with Matt Griffin and Gabriele Lancieri completing the top 10. Lancieri, the Am class pole sitter. On towards the next page, Edoardo Liberati, continuing Raton Racing, solid weekend. Lines up in 11th, ahead of Alan Helmeister, the Drivex Mercedes fortunately up and running. Andrea Fontana and Sean Balfe locking out the 7th row, clear of Hendrik Still and Nono Figueiredo. Then Mike Benham and Hiroshi Hamaguchi, with Martin Conrad and Mauro Calamia completing the top 10. Or top 20 rather. Then Zelko Dermich, ahead of Valentin Pierberg and Luis Silva. Sadly we didn't see Davide Rizzo or Dominic Farnbacher, both of whom had cars that were in the wars yesterday. We are set for an absolutely thrilling race later on today. It is due to get underway at just after 2 o'clock Central European time. Make sure you join us for that. Until then, from Ben Evans in Monza, it's goodbye.